la da daine. Kito Hiranyakashipu Vakshaha. Shilatanka Nakhalaye. Ito Nrsimha Bharato Nrsimha. Yato Yato Yamitato Nrsimha. Pahira Nrsimha Hridaye Nrsimha. Nrsimhamadim Sharanam Prapadye. Tavakara Kamalavare Nakamatputa Sringa. Kalita Hiranyakashipu Tanupringa. Keshavadita Harahari Rupa. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Nrsimhadev, 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 Jaya Nrsimhadev. Jai Prahlad Maharaj, Jai Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Nrsimhadev ki, Prahlad Maharaj ki. Jai. Krishna, 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 Hey. Krishna, 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 Hey. Krishna, 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 Rakshama. Krishna, 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 Pahimam. Rama, Raghava, Rama, Raghava, Rama, Raghava, Rakshama. Krishna, Kesava, Krishna, Kesava, Krishna, Kesava, Pahimam.
So this is a reading from the Krishna book, and this is the last chapter. No, it isn't. It's second before last chapter. And it's a super excellent power of Krishna. There's 87, I think. When a person becomes famous as a devotee of the Lord, his reputation is never to be extinguished. Lord Chaitanya, when discoursing with Ramananda Roy, questioned what is the greatest fame. Ramananda Roy replied that to be known as a pure devotee of Lord Krishna is the perfect fame. The conclusion, therefore, is that Vishnu Dharma, or the religion of devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is meant for persons who are thoughtful. By proper utilization of thoughtfulness, one comes to the stage of thinking of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By thinking of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one becomes free from the contamination of the faulty association of the material world, and thus one becomes peaceful. The world is in a disturbed condition because of a scarcity of such peaceful devotees in human society. Unless one is a devotee, one cannot be equal to all living entities. A devotee is equally disposed towards the animals, the human beings, and all living entities because he sees every living entity as a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. In the Upanishad, it is clearly stated that one has who has come to the stage of seeing all living entities equally, does not hate anyone or favour anyone. The devotee does not hanker to possess more than he requires. Devotees are therefore akinchana. In any condition of life, a devotee is satisfied. It is said that a devotee is even-minded whether he is in hell or heaven. A devotee is callous to all subjects other than his engagement in devotional service. This mode of life is the highest perfectional stage.
Highest perfectional stage from which one can be elevated to the spiritual world, back home, back to Godhead. The devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are especially attracted by the highest material quality, goodness, and the qualified Brahmana is the symbolic representation of this goodness. Therefore, a devotee is attached to the Brahminical stage of life. He is not very much interested in passion or ignorance, although these qualities also emanate from the Supreme Lord, Vishnu. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, the devotees are described as Nipuna Buddhi, which means that they are the most intelligent class of men. Uninfluenced by attachment or hatred. You hear the rain? Some serious rain out here. You can hear on the roof. It's even hitting our roof. Yes. Uninfluenced by attachment or hatred, the devotee lives very peacefully and is not agitated by the influence of passion and ignorance. It may be questioned here why a devotee should be attached to the quality of goodness in the material world if he is transcendental to all material qualities. The answer is that there are different kinds of people existing in the modes of material nature. Those in the mode of ignorance are called Rakshasas. Those in the mode of passion are called Asuras, and those in the mode of goodness are called Suras, or demigods. Under the direction of the Supreme Lord, these three classes of men are created by material nature, but those in the mode of goodness have a greater chance to be elevated to the spiritual world, back home, back to Godhead. Thus, all the sages who assembled on the bank of the river Saraswati to try to determine who is the supreme predominating deity became freed from all doubts about Vishnu worship. All of them thereafter engaged in devotional service, and thus they achieved the desired result and went back to Godhead. Those who are actually anxious to be liberated from material entanglement would do better to accept at once the conclusion given by Sri Shukadeva Goswami in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It is said there that hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam is extremely conducive to liberation because it is spoken by Shukadeva Goswami. The same fact is again confirmed by Suta Goswami. If anyone who is traveling aimlessly within this material world cares to hear the nectarian words spoken by Shukadeva Goswami, certainly he will come to the right conclusion. Simply by discharging devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he will be able to stop the fatigue of perpetually migrating from one material body to another. So, simply by discharging devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he will be able to stop the fatigue of perpetually migrating from one material body to another. In other words, by proper hearing, one will become fixed in loving devotional service to Vishnu.
He will certainly be able to get the relief from this material journey of life and the process is very simple. One has to give oral reception to the sweet words spoken by Shukadeva Goswami in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. Another conclusion is that we should never consider the demigods, even Lord Shiva nor Brahma, to be on an equal level with Lord Vishnu. If we do this, then according to the Padma Purana, we immediately become atheists. In the Vedic literature known as the Harivamsa, it is also stated that only the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu is to be worshipped. Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, or any such Vishnu mantra, is always to be chanted. In the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Brahma says, both Lord Shiva and I are engaged by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to act in different capacities under his direction. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is also stated that the only master is Krishna, and all others in all categories of life are servants of Krishna only. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is confirmed by the Lord that there is no truth superior to Krishna. Sukadeva Goswami also, in order to draw attention to the fact that among all Vishnu tattva forms, Lord Krishna is 100% the Supreme Personality of Godhead, narrated the story of an incident which took place when Lord Krishna was present. Once upon a time, a Brahmana's wife gave birth to a child. Unfortunately, however, just after being born and touching the ground, the child immediately died. The Brahmana father took the child and went directly to Dwarka to the palace of the king. The Brahmana was very upset because of the untimely death of the child in the presence of his young father and mother. Thus his mind became very disturbed. Formerly, when there were responsible kings up to the time of Dwapara Yuga, when Lord Krishna was present, the king was liable to be blamed for the untimely death of a child in the presence of his parents. Similarly, such responsibility was there during the time of Lord Ramachandra. As we have explained in the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the king was so responsible for the comforts of the citizens that he was to see that there was not even excessive heat or cold. Now, although there was no fault on part of the king, the Brahmana, whose child had died, immediately went to the palace door and accused the king as follows. The present king Ugrasena is envious of the Brahmanas. The exact word used in this connection is Brahma Dvivishtaha, one who is envious of the Vedas.
One who is envious of the Vedas of a qualified Brahmana or the Brahmana caste is called Brahmadvit. So the king was accused of being Brahmadvit. He was also accused of being Shathati, falsely intelligent. The executive head of a state must be very intelligent to see to the comforts of the citizens. But according to the Brahmana, the king was not at all intelligent, and although he was occupying the royal throne, Therefore the Brahmana also called him Luptha, which means greedy. In other words, a king or an executive head of state should not occupy the exalted post of president or king if he is greedy and self-interested. But it is natural that an executive head becomes self-interested when he is attached to material enjoyment. Therefore, another word used here is Vishayatmanaha. The Brahmana also accused the king of being Kshatrabandhu, which refers to a person born in the family of Kshatriyas or the royal order, but lacking the qualifications of a royal personality. A king should protect Brahminical culture and should be very alert to the welfare of his citizens. He should not be greedy due to attachment to material enjoyment. If a person with no qualifications represents himself as a Kshatriya of the royal order, he is not called a Kshatriya but a Kshatrabandhu. Similarly, if a person is born of a Brahmana father but has no Brahminical qualification, he is called Brahmabandhu or Dvijabandhu. This means that a Brahmana or a Kshatriya is not accepted simply by birth. One has to qualify himself for the particular position. Only then is he accepted as a Brahmana or a Kshatriya. Thus the Brahmana charged that his newly born baby was dead due to the disqualifications of the king. The Brahmana took it to be most unnatural, and therefore he held the king responsible. We also find in Vedic history that if a Kshatriya king were irresponsible, sometimes a consulting board of Brahmanas maintained by the monarchy would dethrone him. Considering all these points, it appears that the post of monarch in the Vedic civilization is a very responsible one. The Brahmana therefore said, no one should offer respects or worship to a king whose only business is envy. Such a king spends his time either hunting and killing animals in the forest or killing citizens for criminal acts. He has no self-control and possesses bad character. If such a king is worshipped by honored by the citizens will never be happy. They will always remain poor, full of anxieties and aggrievement, and always unhappy. Although in modern politics the post of monarch is abolished, the president is not held
not held responsible for the comforts of the citizens. In this age of Kali, the executive head of a state somehow or other gets votes and is elected to an exalted post. But the condition of the citizens continues to be full of anxiety, distress, unhappiness and dissatisfaction. The Brahmana's second child was also born dead, and the third also. He had 9 children, each born dead, and each time he came to the gate of the palace to accuse the king. When the Brahmana came to accuse the king of Dwarka for the 9th time, Arjuna happened to be present with Krishna. On hearing that a Brahmana was accusing the king of not properly protecting him, Arjuna became inquisitive and approached the Brahmana. He said, "My dear Brahmana, why do you say that there are no proper satyas to protect the citizens of your country? Is there not even someone who can pretend to be a satya, who can carry a bow and arrow, at least to make show of protection? Do you think that all the royal personalities in this country simply engage in performing sacrifices with Brahmanas, but have no chivalrous power?" Thus Arjuna indicated that satyas should not sit back comfortably and engage only in performing Vedic rituals. Rather, they must be very chivalrous in protecting the citizens. Brahmanas, being engaged in spiritual activities, are not expected to do anything which requires physical endeavour. Therefore, they need to be protected by the satyas, so that they will not be disturbed in the execution of their higher occupational duties. The Brahmanas feel unwanted separation from their wives and children, Arjuna continued, and the Satya kings do not take care of them, then such satyas are to be considered no more than stage players. In dramatic performances in the theatre, an actor may play the part of a king, but no one expects any benefits from such a make-believe king. Similarly, if the king or executive head of a state cannot give protection to the head of the social structure, he is considered merely a bluffer. Such executive heads simply live for their own livelihood while occupying exalted posts as chiefs of state. My lord, I promise that I shall give protection to your children, and if I am unable to do so, then I shall enter into the blazing fire, so that the sinful contamination which has infected me will be counteracted. Upon hearing Arjuna speak in this way, the Brahmana replied, My dear Arjuna, Lord Balaram is present, but he could not give protection to my children.
Lord Krishna is also present, but he also could not give them protection. There are also many other heroes, such as Pradyumna and Aniruddha, carrying bows and arrows, but they could not protect my children. The Brahmana directly hinted that Arjuna could not do that which was impossible for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He felt that Arjuna was promising something beyond his power. The Brahmana said, I consider your promise to be like that of an inexperienced child. I cannot put my faith in your promise. Arjuna then understood that the Brahmana had lost all faith in the Kshatriya kings. Therefore, to encourage him, Arjuna spoke as if criticizing even his friend Lord Krishna. While Lord Krishna and others were listening, he specifically attacked Krishna by saying, My dear Brahmana, I am neither Shangashan nor Krishna, nor one of Krishna's sons like Pradyumna or Aniruddha. My name is Arjuna, and I carry the bow known as Kandiva. You cannot insult me, for I have satisfied even Lord Shiva by my prowess when we were both hunting in the forest. I had a fight with Lord Shiva, who appeared before me as a hunter, and when I satisfied him by my prowess, he gave me the weapon known as Pashupatastra. Do not doubt my chivalry. I shall bring back your sons, even if I have to fight with death personified. When the Brahmana was assured by Arjuna in such exalted words, he was somehow rather convinced, and thus he returned home. When the Brahmana's wife was to give birth to another child, the Brahmana began to chant, My dear Arjuna, please come now and save my child. After hearing him, Arjuna immediately prepared himself by touching sanctified water and uttering holy mantras to protect his bows and arrows from danger. He specifically took the arrow presented to him by Lord Shiva, and while going out, he remembered Lord Shiva and his great favor. In this way, he appeared in front of the maternity home, equipped with his bow, known as Gandiva, and with various other weapons. Arjuna, who apparently had not left Dwarka because he had to fulfill his promise to the Brahmana, was called at night when the Brahmana's wife was to give birth to the child. While going to the maternity home to attend to the delivery case of the Brahmana's wife, Arjuna remembered Lord Shiva and not his friend Krishna. He thought that since Krishna could not give protection to the Brahmana, it was better to take shelter of Lord Shiva. This is another instance
of how a person takes shelter of the demigods. This is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Kamastastirita jnana. A person who loses his intelligence because of greed and lust forgets the Supreme Personality of Godhead and takes shelter with the demigods. Of course, Arjuna was not an ordinary living entity, but because of his friendly dealings with Krishna, he thought that Krishna was unable to give protection to the Brahmana and that he would do better to remember Lord Shiva. Later it was proved that Arjuna taking shelter of Lord Shiva instead of Krishna was not at all successful. Arjuna, however, did his best by chanting different mantras, and he took up his bow to guard the maternity home from all directions. The Brahmana's wife delivered a male child, and as usual the child began to cry, but suddenly, within a few minutes, both the child and Arjuna's arrows disappeared into the sky. It appears that the Brahmana's house was near Krishna's residence and that Lord Krishna was enjoying everything that was taking place, apparently in defiance of his authority. It was he who played the trick of taking away the Brahmana's baby as well as the arrows, including the one given by Lord Shiva, of which Arjuna was so proud. Tad bhavatsyan apam medasaham. Less intelligent men take shelter of the demigods due to bewilderment and are satisfied with the benefits they award. In the presence of Lord Krishna and others, the Brahmana began to accuse Arjuna. Everyone see my foolishness. I put my faith in the words of Arjuna, who is so impotent and who is expert only in false promises. How foolish I was to believe Arjuna. He promised to protect my child, and when even Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Lord Balaram and Lord Krishna failed, if such great personalities could not protect my child, then who can do so? I therefore condemn Arjuna for his false promise, and I also condemn his celebrated Gandiva and his impudence in declaring himself greater than Lord Balaram, Lord Krishna and Pradyumna and Aniruddha. No one can save my child, for he has already been transferred to another planet. Due to sheer foolishness only, Arjuna thought he could bring back my child from another planet. Thus condemned by the Brahmana, Arjuna empowered himself with a mystic yoga perfection so that he could travel to any planet to find the Brahmana's baby. It seems that Arjuna had mastered mystic yoga power by which the yogis can travel to any planet they desire.
I think we're done.
We're done. Hare Krishna. Very good. Quick darshan. The Panchatattva. And I hope you enjoyed the Krishna book. And have some beautiful discussions afterwards.
And sweet Krishna dreams.
Thank you.